in it. And now we have a name, Jay-Z, over the weekend. Did you see this coming?
I think we were all waiting for some other celebrity names to be dropped in the civil cases. I think the criminal case is a different matter, whether we'll see other celebrities charged in there. But if we were to believe Tony Busby, we all should have seen something like this coming, because he said that other powerful people would be named and exposed when he made his announcement that he was going to be filing a lot of lawsuits. So I think this has just been a matter of time. There also was an indication that something was up in the last couple of weeks when the lawsuit was filed against Tony Busby in Los Angeles alleging extortion. It did not name Jay-Z, but it said on behalf of an anonymous celebrity. It was filed by Quinn Emanuel, which is a law firm that does a lot of work with Jay-Z.
All right, so to your point, I mean, this has been somewhat in the works for some time now, being made public here. I want to put up your tweet today with a screen grab there of a page of the suit. You're saying there it names Jay-Z as a defendant, and it accuses both Jay-Z and Diddy of raping a 13-year-old girl in 2000. It was filed by attorney Tony Busby, and Jay-Z has accused Busby of extortion. Now, what grounds are Jay-Z's attorneys claiming the judge should throw out the lawsuit here? Do they have a case?
They have a much better case to get an order saying that the plaintiff needs to identify herself. And they've also requested in this motion that they either want her to identify herself or for the allegations to be dismissed. I think the case law favors her identifying herself through an amended complaint or something like that. We've seen that same litigation in other lawsuits that have been filed against Diddy. So this is the same type of motion, actually, that Busby has filed in other cases seeking to proceed anonymously. And the judge in this case actually did already allow it back in November. When the initial lawsuit was filed in October, Busby filed a request to allow the plaintiff to proceed anonymously. The judge allowed it, but did say it was subject to revisiting. And Busby filed another motion when he filed his new complaint identifying Jay-Z. But this will be the first time that there's been significant opposition to the anonymity. Beforehand, Diddy does not have lawyers actively working these cases right now. So it was just Busby asking the judge and the judge going along with it.
I mean, that was my next point and question I was going to ask. You know, it didn't seem like there was much of an effort mounted on Diddy's behalf via his team against some of the lawsuits, the many lawsuits brought by Busby. And now you see that flipped on its head. I mean, with Jay-Z's response to this, essentially claiming Busby is extorting him, calling him a lawyer, quote unquote, in quotation, saying he's a terrible person. How's Busby going to weather this?
You know, I think he's prepared for quite a battle. He seems to be responding online in kind and digging in and saying this only emboldens his client. So I think at some point, everyone is going to just have to take a step back and focus on the actual allegations and the fact that there's somebody who says that she was attacked when she was 13. And I think that's what Jay-Z's team is trying to do by getting her identity. They're, of course, making the case that they need to prepare a defense here by knowing who it is, getting other possible witnesses. So I think eventually the tit for tat between these two is going to have to turn to the actual allegations and whether they can be proven or disproven.
Yeah, Busby with this lengthy post on X over the weekend saying this, that regarding the Jay-Z case and his efforts to silence my clients, he says, Carter previously denied being the one who sued me and my firm. He filed his frivolous case under a pseudonym there. And he says that when an alleged perpetrator behaves in this manner, wildly asserting that a basic demand letter is extortion, and aggressively using the media to attack the opposing lawyer while at the same time ignoring the allegations being made by the alleged victim, he says it reminds me of a famous line from Shakespeare. The lady doth protest too much, methinks. He says, we intend to address all these issues with the court in due course. Let me be clear, he says, we will not be bullied or intimidated by these shenanigans, and our clients won't be silenced. So, a very, very strong statement there of course, with the Shakespeare line from Much Ado About Nothing. I want to talk about reputational harm. We know what has transpired with Diddy and what he has suffered on the reputational front here. Will it be the same case for Jay-Z, rather?
I think that definitely remains to be seen, because right now this is one lawsuit, and I feel like his team is really hoping that they're going to weather the storm here, and they've made some good offensive defensive moves, such as filing this extortion lawsuit. And right now the narrative around this isn't just that Jay-Z is being sued for sexual assault, but also that Jay-Z is accusing the lawyer of extortion. So I think they've already managed to get a good grasp on it. It just really is going to remain to be seen about what happens with the actual allegations. The public can think that Tony Busby is a bad guy all they want. It's just going to matter, are his allegations valid or not?
Megan, do you anticipate Busby to take up Jay-Z on Jay-Z's dare, essentially saying, if this rises to the level of how you describe it, file criminal charges against me, bring it out of the civil sphere? Will he do that?
I mean, we don't. Busby is not a district attorney with charging powers in New York City or New Jersey, so he couldn't do it himself. So we don't actually know if there's been a police report filed. Perhaps there has, perhaps there hasn't. I think there are statute of limitations issues to look at. I think New Jersey does not have a statute of limitations for child sex abuse, but those would all be issues to be considered. But like the reporter said in the previous segment, there's such a different standard for criminal versus civil cases that could also be something that comes into play.
Yeah. And of course, in Jay-Z's lengthy statement put out by Rock Nation, his record label and brand, he's deeply concerned about how this will really not impact his reputation, but, his family. How is he going to explain this to his very young children here? His attorneys, though, high-powered, they're bulldogs. Alex Spiro represented Alec Baldwin. Spiro has represented Elon Musk in the past. He knows what he's doing, right?
Yes, he seems to definitely have a good track record. We saw him in court in the Alec Baldwin case, and he seems to take on matters with a lot of substance, and he knows how to bring out the right issues and litigate the right issues. So I think we'll be seeing a lot of that here. It will be interesting to see him, go up against Tony Busby in court if we get there. But then, it's also interesting to think about Diddy's role in this. And as a co-defendant charged with a criminal case, he has every reason to not want to participate in this civil lawsuit. He would not be sitting for a deposition or allowing any kind of discovery around him as long as he has these criminal charges pending. So it will be interesting to see how, when that eventually comes to play, how it affects the lawsuit moving forward. If there's some kind of stay in place, or if Jay-Z is able to get his day in court if this case is not dismissed.
Yeah, and of course, not to mention Busby's no spring chicken here. He took on Deshaun Watson there in the Houston area. And he has vowed to, fight on behalf of his client, this plaintiff here, who, to your point, remains anonymous. Say she no longer remains anonymous due to various filings and successes that Jay-Z's legal team gets here. That extortion claim by Jay-Z's team, will that have even more heft, so to speak, or not?
That I think that remains to be seen. It seems like the kind of lawsuit that could be not decided until we see some more resolution here, because I think there's a lot of moving parts here. But I think a lot of the intent of that lawsuit was to try to stave off any kind of public filing of Jay-Z's name, which of course happened on Sunday night. So.
Busby, though, did allege in that statement we just read that his client isn't seeking some type of monetary settlement. They just want a confidential mediation here. Those are the same thing, right?
Yeah, he did say that the client did not request money, but I think the response to that would be that that's really the only solution here in a civil case, outside of, an injunction or something like that would not apply in this case. Monetary damages are what we would get here. And a confidential mediation is, of course, what you do when you're ultimately hoping to get some kind of settlement. So I think they would just they're obviously standing by their characterization of this as a shakedown. Jay-Z's team is.
Yeah, and on Busby's part, it seems like that's a distinction without a difference. Megan Cuniff, thanks so much for joining us here, and we'll be in touch if there are any more updates. Talk soon, Megan.
Great, thanks for having me.
All right, in the meantime here, I just want to put up this. This is on X, very lengthy statement from Rock Nation. This is Jay-Z's side of it. He says, my lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a quote-unquote lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. He says, no, sir. It had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny. He says these allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? He says these are...
Question. Would you build a website for a major brand with more than 200 million users using Wix?
Jay-Z has been sued for drugging and raping a 13-year-old girl in a lawsuit tied to rapper Sean Diddy Combs, a lawsuit the music mogul is calling, quote, a blackmail attempt. Now, in the documents obtained by TMZ, Jay-Z is named by an anonymous accuser who says the rapper and Diddy drugged and raped her back in 2000. The plaintiff, who is suing as Jane Doe, says the alleged assault occurred at an after party following the MTV Video Music Awards. Now, the accuser originally filed a lawsuit against Diddy in October in which he claimed the Bad Boy Records founder and an unnamed celebrity proceeded to assault her while an unnamed female watched. The accuser has since named Jay-Z as the other celebrity in the alleged assault, as she refiled her lawsuit against Diddy to include his name on Sunday. Jay-Z's representatives have responded to the lawsuit with a statement from the rap mogul, who says that he was determined, quote, to expose the accuser for the fraud they are. To speak more on this, I do want to bring in Andrew Cherkasky, who is a former federal prosecutor and military veteran, who is now a high-profile criminal defense and civil trial lawyer. Andrew, we appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Live Now from Fox.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So I did want to ask you this. The accuser originally filed this lawsuit back in October, only naming Sean Diddy Combs, now amending that lawsuit to include the name of Jay-Z. Initial reactions to this, does that shock you? And from your legal perspective, why might this change have occurred?
Well, these are very serious allegations, but Jay-Z has vehemently denied them. We have been seeing this trend since the criminal case was brought. There has been this influx of allegations from civil attorneys bringing civil lawsuits, looking for a really gigantic amount of money from both Diddy as well as those that they say were involved. One of the trends that I think is very concerning is this idea that they name an unnamed individual and then they send essentially a demand to their representatives and to them individually for some sort of settlement prior to them revealing the name. Can they resolve that? And it appears here with Jay-Z that this type of demand went to Jay-Z. He said he's not paying a penny. In fact, he said not a red cent, suggesting he sees this as blood money, and that he was not going to do this, and that he's the victim of an extortion scheme. That could be the case, and that could be something that as time goes by, we see more information about whether these allegations really were founded in sufficient truth to bring them forward in the first place.
So what are the next steps now that Jay-Z's name is connected with the lawsuit against Diddy? What happens legally?
Well, he'll have to defend himself. And so the first thing you have when you have a complaint against you is you have the answer to that complaint. There may even be legal avenues that they can take to try to quash the complaint or complain about something having not been done correctly, but he'll have to answer to it, deny those allegations to the extent that he's able to do so, just as he's been doing in the media. So this will be something that goes on for a extended period of time, but this will come down to the facts and potentially testimony about what did or didn't happen.
And Andrew, for our viewers, I wanted to share this. This is the statement that Jay-Z released. Quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case. This lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these types of theatrics." And so, Andrew, taking a look at this, and also I did also want to ask you, when it comes to the alleged victim, the person who is filing this lawsuit, right now, this is a Jane Doe situation. Is there any circumstance where a judge would compel this individual to reveal her identity or their identity publicly because of the high-profile nature and the seriousness of these allegations?
Well, to kind of piece that apart, first, Jay-Z says, bring this in criminal court. Well, we have to note that the DOJ has not named him, has not brought those allegations, and I think that they would be very interested in a case like this if there were actual criminal acts that occurred. So you have to wonder why this hasn't been handled criminally to start with. The standard in a civil court is much lower than in a criminal court, beyond a reasonable doubt in a criminal court, preponderance of the evidence in a civil court. As for the name of the victim and whether she can remain a Jane Doe or whether that will come out as her actual name, there is precedent for both being the case. And it deals with a number of factors concerning the publicity, the ability to defend yourself, the ability to rebut things in public. So there have been folks who have been forced to reveal their names in the Diddy case so far. And also many people are going by the Jane Does. So we'll see what happens, but there will be a point of reckoning where that story will have to be told in an open courtroom with a jury, and determinations made if this pursues itself all the way to the end.
Andrew, before we let you go, is there anything else that you're keeping a very close eye on when it comes to these sorts of developments?
I'm keeping a very close eye on the attorneys that are bringing these civil lawsuits that seem to be doing a lot more investigation, seem to be having a lot more information than the FBI and the DOJ. That's highly suspect to me. There is certainly a large financial interest in what's happening with these lawsuits and the position Diddy is in. So I think that it's very important to maintain the presumption of innocence with folks that are being accused. Obviously, people are very curious about what's happening, and we want to make sure that anybody who violated children or committed any types of crimes are held responsible. But we have to have responsibility in the presumptions of innocence versus the salaciousness of these stories and the sprint to presume guilt that we see sometimes in especially social media and those types of posts.
Absolutely. Important point to note there, Andrew. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And as Andrew was mentioning, the attorneys involved, I did also want to share this statement with you. This is Tony Busby, who filed the lawsuit on behalf of this Jane Doe, saying, quote, "Mr. Carter," referring to Jay-Z's legal name, "Mr. Carter previously denied being the one who sued me and my firm. He even filed his frivolous case under a pseudonym. What he fails to say in his recent statement is my firm sent his lawyer a demand letter on behalf of an alleged victim, and that victim never demanded a penny from him. Instead, she only sought a confidential mediation. Since I sent the letter on her behalf, Mr. Carter has not only sued me, but he has tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff. His conduct has had the opposite impact. She is emboldened. I am very proud of her resolve." And so we continue to follow the very latest developments as we share this information with you, as we do now know that Jay-Z has been named in connection with a lawsuit involving Sean Diddy Combs. Now, Diddy's lawyers also responded to this, telling TMZ the amended complaint and lawsuit are, quote, "shameless publicity stunts designed to extract payments from celebrities who fear having lies spread about
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car. Okay, you ready? All right, $118.
It is a new hour here on Live Now from Fox, and we do have some breaking news that we want to bring to you. It was being reported by TMZ and now Fox News. We are learning that Jay-Z is accused of raping a 13-year-old girl. That is new in the Diddy lawsuit, and the new allegations are just coming out this evening. Jay-Z is being accused of raping a minor along with Diddy at a MTV VMAs after party back in 2000, according to documents obtained by Fox News Digital tonight. The lawsuit, which was initially filed back in October, was refiled tonight in New York by an anonymous accuser claiming Jay-Z, whose full name is Sean Carter, raped her while Combs and Celebrity B watched. So that other celebrity was not named. Initially, the lawsuit stated Combs raped the minor while Celebrity A and Celebrity B watched. Carter was named as Celebrity A in the refiled lawsuit. Representatives for Jay-Z did not immediately respond to Fox News' digital request for comment. Combs and Carter allegedly, quote, took turns assaulting the minor, according to the lawsuit. Many others were present at the after party but did nothing to stop the assault, it alleges. The 13-year-old girl was dropped off at Radio City Music Hall by a friend as she wanted to attend the MTV Video Music Awards back in 2000, according to the lawsuit. In an attempt to gain entry to the venue, she began approaching limousine drivers waiting outside the celebrity-filled event. One of the limousine drivers she spoke to claimed to work for Diddy, the lawsuit read. He told her that Combs liked younger girls and said that, quote, she fit what Diddy was looking for, not allowing her into the awards, but inviting her to an after party. The 13-year-old, quote, recognized many celebrities upon arrival at the party and was required to sign a non-disclosure agreement. However, she was not given a copy. Combs, who would have been 30 years old at the time, then allegedly attempted to force the girl to perform oral sex on him. He stopped after she hit him in the neck, according to the lawsuit here. So now Jay-Z being accused in this now 24 years ago, raping a 13-year-old alongside Diddy at an after party here. So these are the newest allegations rocking the music world this evening, and we wanted to bring that to your attention all right here on Live Now from Fox. Of course, we will continue to follow this major story as the Diddy saga continues, and now more celebrities getting caught up in it here. These new allegations rocking Hollywood and the music industry as we speak right now.
Sean Combs may be up to behind bars. Quite the fall from grace for the once renowned music star. But look, as I've said before and I'll say it again, he is innocent until proven guilty, okay? He has not even been found liable in any of these sexual assault lawsuits as of yet. Have to be clear about that. So we will see where this case goes, and we will see how this story proceeds. All right, everybody, that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. Speak to you next time.
You should always advocate for yourself and be a voice for yourself. You should never let what somebody else did ruin or run your life.
A 38-year-old mother from Alabama who has filed a lawsuit accusing Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z of raping her when she was 13 years old is speaking out to NBC News for the first time. She asked us not to reveal her identity.
What made you want to come forward and talk today?
Because think that I've been quiet long enough about what I've been through, and it's been hard enough to be quiet. But it's a chapter of my life that I'd like to close.
An NBC News review of her account found inconsistencies with her allegations. She says that she went to the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000 to catch a glimpse of her favorite celebrities.
You weren't scared to be all alone?
No, with